Hey guys, this is E with Scrapbooking with me. Sorry I had been away for a while, but my daughter had surgery on Wednesday. So I have been spending some time with her, and then when I got back, catch up time to get all the shipments out. So we've been a little bit busy, but we are back. My daughter is doing great. Thanks everyone for all of your prayers. I really appreciate those. Today we're going to make a card. And this is going to be a card for Father's Day, since I have quite a few dads that I'm going to be giving cards to this year. And I'm just going to start out with a blue cardstock, and this is cut at 11 inches by 4 1/4 and then scored in the middle at 5 1/2. So that makes the regular size card base. And then this piece is cut at 4 by 5 1/4. So this is going to be the top part right there. Now I have already made my ties, and let me bring them in. I cut these by hand. I didn't cut them with my Cricut. So I'm going to show you how to cut one, how easy it is. You just take a piece of paper that is about 1/2 inch wide, and it's about 2 3/4 inches long. Okay, and then you just start on the end. Make sure that it's got a good straight end on it, and you're going to make the opposite of a fishtail. You know how you make a fishtail banner? You go in and then you cut the little slits. We're going to do just the opposite. So you're just going to cut up a little bit right there, starting in the middle, and then cut up a little bit right there. Whoops, mine didn't. And see, if you don't cut it so straight, you've got a little bit to play with there. Okay, so there's the bottom of your tie right there. And then on this part up here, you just go up about 1 inch or so, and then just start kind of tapering in. And then this part up here, it doesn't really matter because that's going to be folded over. So just make that kind of skinny. And then just go to the other side and do the same thing. And if you see you have them a little bit off, you know, you can just trim them up. They don't have to be perfect. This is handmade, not Hallmark. So there you go. That's it. And then this part right here is just going to fold over. So that's the part that you're going to see. But that's all it is to making you a little tie. So if you want to make this card, that's what you can do. Alright, yesterday we got in our Clarity stencil brushes after almost a year. We have been waiting on these, but we got these in yesterday. We got 2 big shipments in, and they are all sold out already. They're gone. Our next shipment won't be here till the 1st of May, so we've got about 5 weeks before our next shipment will be here. These are hard to come by and hard to get. So if you want to get in line for this next shipment that's coming, go ahead and go to the link that I'll have below. Go ahead and reserve yours, because if you don't, they will be gone and you won't be able to get one. So what we're going to do with our stencil brush and with some of our Oxide inks, I'm going to use the Faded Jeans. And we're going to put a little bit of ink on the top to make this look like a sky, and then a little bit of green on the bottom. Now we're going to go about 3/4 of a way down with the sky, and then just 1/4 of a way up with the green. So just take your stencil brush, dip it in your ink. Don't be alarmed if some of your little bristles come out when you first get it. That's normal. It's not that it's going to keep shedding. It's just going to shed a little bit. Now when you get your ink on there, make sure that you start off of your page swiping back and forth. So start off the page just swiping back and forth. If you start on the page, you're going to get a big blob of ink. So just go back and forth, starting off the page first. So we're going to continue to do that till we get about 3/4 of the way down. If you want it darker, just go back over it a few times. If you want it darker around the edges, just take your brush around the edge. Okay, that is all that we're going to do with the blue. So that's going to be that one. And now we're going to do a little bit of the peeled paint. We're going to do this on the bottom for our grass. So we're just going to dip the end of our brush in that. Now hold your cardstock still, or you can tape it down if you've got one a little bit larger. And then just start on the edge and swipe it back and forth to put a little bit of that ink on there. Okay, and I'm going to do mine a little bit darker. Just like that. I think that will be plenty dark enough. Now I want this top part to have a few little clouds, so all I'm doing is taking a baby wipe and I've just kind of crunched it up, and then I'm just going to dip it in some areas and take away a little bit of that ink. So there are our clouds, and I don't know if you can see that. Now the center is going to look a little bit dark because that's where it's a little bit wet, but when it dries it will all smooth out. Now I'm not working with watercolor paper, so you know, when mine dried it did have a little bit of bow in it, but when I glue it down it's going to be fine. If you was working on watercolor paper it wouldn't do that. I'm just working on some regular cardstock. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take some of this, I guess this is embroidery floss, or embroidery thread. Embroidery floss, it's exactly what it is. I'm going to take some of this, just enough to go around it 2 or 3 times, and I am going to go around this card 2 or 3 times. So we're going to go that way. I'm going to flip it over and I'm just going to tape this back down. So there is that. And then just smooth them out like you want them to look. This is going to be kind of like a clothesline. Not exactly, but similar. So I'm just going to do mine like that, but you can put it any way that you want. I'm going to run some ATG tape on the back. Just make sure that you run your ATG tape all over your thread so that it'll hold that down. And then I'm just going to center this up on my card base and press it down. See, that takes all of the bow or anything out of that. And now I'm just going to take my little ties, and all I'm going to do with them is where I folded that over, I'm just going to lay these little ties in there like that. And I'm going to use a glue dot. I'm telling you, I use glue dots for everything. These things are wonderful. I'm going to use a little glue dot and I'm going to put it down up here to make that hold. And then later I might put one down at the bottom, I'm not sure. So we're going to put them at different angles and maybe going different ways. So let's see. I'm going to lay them in here first and then we'll see which way we want these to go. And you could do fewer ties, you could do one big tie. I mean, it's strictly up to you. Okay, so once you have them down, then you can just kind of, I think I'm gonna put them all swaying one way, and that way it'll look like the wind's blowing them that way. So I think I'll turn them just a little. It's a good part about that. Those glue dots, you can maneuver them just a little bit. There we go, there are our ties swaying in the wind. And now we're going to do a sentiment down here on the bottom. And I'm going to use, I think I'm going to emboss it. So I'm going to use my embossing buddy, rub across that a little bit. I'm just going to use one that says Father's Day. So let's ink it up with our Versamark. This is Versamark ink. Wonderful stuff. And let's put it right there. Okay. And then I hold this over here and I get my, this is Nouveau embossing powder. We do have this in stock as well. And this is in the, let me see, I think this is in the clear. Glacier White is what this is called. And then just make sure that your heat tool is really, really hot before you put it to your sentiment. And then you just want to keep it moving back and forth so that your cardstock doesn't warp. And then you can heat from the back, heat from the front. And this is just a regular cardstock as well. This has a lot of grain in it, so it's going to show a little bit of grain in that sentiment, which that is fine. I don't mind that. Just make sure that it's all changed colors and you're finished. So there's our sentiment stamped out. And now what we're going to do is cut this out. I'm going to use my trimmer to trim this out. And then we're just going to do a little fishtail banner on the end. So cut up in the center. And then go to your corners and just cut up to that mark, that center point. So we're going to put that right there. And I am going to use some pop dots to put this down. So that is going to go right there. Just like that. So I'm going to put a little tiny piece of bling on each one of these to make it look like a little tie tack. There you go. And that is it for right now. We will be back with more tutorials shortly, but I hope you enjoyed this card. I hope you'll give it a try. If you do, please share it on our Facebook page. That link is below as well. On Monday, we will be having a Shop the Crafty Box live sales show. So it will be on our Facebook sale group, Scrapbooking with Me Boutique. Just come on over and ask to join. It will be a live show. We'll open up a box of goodies and show them. There may be one, there may be two of each one. We'll be selling them at cost. So come over and grab you a goodie. All you have to do is say me and the number that I have on that particular item. Come over early and join us, and I'll tell you all about how it works and all that kind of thing. All right, we'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.